UFC Vegas 13 live at the UFC Apex Center. We got two former light heavyweight title contenders, title challengers. Number 1 ranked Thiago Santos is facing off against number 3 ranked Glover Teixeira. I mean, I can't really say much more. I feel like the fighters, their names, that speaks for itself. But before we get into it, before we get into a little bit of recap over the Anderson Silva retirement bout, I am live, as always, joined with my guy, AJ. AJ, how are you living, bro?
Man, I'm doing very well, Derick. I'm doing very well. Enjoying this nice weather we got out here, man. How you been?
I'm doing good, man. You know, I know this is a fight show that we talking, right? But we do know, everybody knows, it's no secret. We got elections going on, chaos in the streets. So, folks, I hope we can give you something here where we can all relax, stay at home, and get your fight picks in, man. So, let's talk a little bit about, like I said, the Anderson Silva card versus Uriah Hall. We both, respectively, didn't do too great, but you did better than I did. So, you went 3 for 5 on your picks. I went 2 for 5 on my picks. And I always say if you do better than 50%, I mean, you in there. You know what I'm saying? So, I'll give you this one, AJ. You got me this week, man. But there's a couple things that stood out to me and you respectively, and I'll let you go first, man. Give me some thoughts about the impressive win Bryce Mitchell got over Andre Touchy-Feely, man. Very underrated opponent.
Bryce Mitchell versus Touchy-Feely, man. It was a great show. I mean, I had a feeling Bryce Mitchell was going to put it to him, but I genuinely thought it was going to be a lot harder of a mountain to climb. Feely really stood his ground, and he hit him with a very nice jumping knee that you could tell with after the post-fight press conference that Mitchell, he didn't even know what hit him. He was like, yes, I think it was busy. He's like, did he hit me with a knee? He hit me with something. So you knew he felt it. You knew he's there. And those are the shots that really count, the ones you don't see. So it was good to see that Bryce Mitchell actually held his water and was able to contend with one of the greats in the division. I'm excited to see what he has, coming next in his future. What was some takeaways from your experience, Derick?
So I just got one, man. It's not popular at all, but it's Greg Hardy and his win over Maurice Green. Another knockout win is added to his collection. It's one of those things where you can sit here and you could say, oh, Maurice Green looked terrible. But how many opponents after, are getting knocked out or getting finished or Greg Hardy winning against can we keep saying they look terrible or he's making them look terrible, man? The thing about Greg Hardy is dude is super athletic like we always talk about. And I think that's been the game changer is that his athleticism mixed with the power, not necessarily speed. It's just being an overall athlete mixed with that, man. Heavyweights aren't used to seeing that. And I think that he passed the test in terms of like giving him someone that's legit. Now let's see someone in the top 15 and see how he fares there. And then lastly, I have to touch on it just out of respect, man. Anderson Silva. He looked good in my opinion. He looked better than he has as of recently, but I think it's time to hang it up, man. Uriah Hall got the knockout win over him, and what's sad is this not AJ, man? Is this not the Anderson Silva, Forrest Griffin, just years and years and years later? Anderson Silva blitzing in with punches. Uriah Hall just hit him with a little check hook. Put him away, man. So it's sad to see, but we know one thing is for sure in MMA, really in life and sports, is that Father Time is undefeated. So with that being said, man, let's jump straight into some sleepers because that's what y'all are here for. Excuse me, man. And AJ, I went first last week. How about you go first this week? Who you got for your first sleeper?
Yeah, I would love to, Derick. First off, I'm starting off this week with Alexander Romanov versus Marcos Rogerio de Lima. Now, this is two big heavyweights going at it, swinging heavy leather. You know how we like it. Now, Alexander Romanov, he's big, he's fast, undefeated, and very well-rounded. He's down to swing that leather as well as he knows how to finish the fight on the ground. If you watch any of his fights, you're very excited when you see his name on the card. Now, Marcos Rogerio de Lima is very strong and a very dangerous opponent for Romanov. In his last fight against Ben Sassoli, he was able to knock him out with just a grazing shot. Barely touched him and put him down. It was very impressive. He comes to the octagon with a little bit more experience, and I'm sure he's looking to lean on that coming up in the fight. This is a sleeper to me specifically because of the heavyweights. The light heavyweight and the heavyweight class or weight classes right now are kind of a little slow. You hear of a lot of people going up and moving up to kind of draw a little bit more attention to them. And this is another guy between Romanov and Rogerio that I think the UFC can depend on and lean on for big-time fights in the future. And I'm excited to see what they got bringing to the plate. What do you got, Derick?
Right on, man. My next, my first sleeper actually is going to be a bunch of welterweights here, man. I got Max Griffin, who should more or less be a UFC name, versus Ramiz Brahimaj. Apologies, it's a tough name to get out. Now, Max Payne Griffin, I love his nickname, man. He's a prospect who truly has not seen much success since he joined the UFC in 2016, man. They fed him to the Wolves immediately in his debut, where he lost to Colby Covington. Like, now, revisionist history, hindsight, that doesn't seem fair, but it was what it was, man. 2016. So since then, he's only won 3 fights in 9 attempts. But to be fair, like I said, he's more or less of a name in the UFC. He's fought Covington, Curtis Millender, Cowboy Oliveira, Elizu Zaleski, and Mike Perry, who is actually the only win out of that list of names that I just mentioned, man. So that's why this is a sleeper fight, dude. This is a UFC vet and a strong wrestler who's racked up about 15 takedowns in his last 5 fights, and all of his losses have come by decision, man. So he's always a tough outing, and though he hasn't shown knockout power in the UFC specifically, he has shown that he can control his opponent, and when everything's going right, like his win against Zalim Imadev, he could stack up takedowns and win the fight. Now his opponent, man, this is the guy who I really want to talk about. This is a really exciting prospect in my mind, and depending on the decision this weekend, he's going to be a household name very soon. Now, Ramiz Brahimaj, like I said, man, he's one of these cats out of Fortis MMA out of Texas, AJ, and I don't know if you know about this gym, but people definitely got to put it on the map. So he fought his last fights in LFA, which should definitely be considered by now as more or less of a farm system for the UFC along with the RFA. And he went 4-2 prior to getting called up to his debut in the big leagues, man. But when he won in an impressive fashion, man. So what stood out to me doing film study on this cat is that he loves to walk his opponents down. And this is where he's really good, AJ, is he's walking you down, he's hitting you with a big heavy strike, and then he's moving in transition for a takedown to try to grab you, whatever the case may be. But what's interesting is that his power really translates. Like, opponents aren't ready to feel that first shot. They think that, okay, this dude's going to start slugging it out with me. And next thing you know, he does his work where he does it best, which, like I said, is in that transition. So for the people who are watching this, man, hear me out. This dude is going to start throwing strikes on you, shoot for the takedown. He doesn't get it, that's okay. Throw a strike off the break, and then transition, kind of like a Lomachenko, transition with a quick pivot, and then take your back, dude. Like, this is where he is the absolute most dangerous, is in that small period of time in the transitions, no matter where you are on the cage. So all of 8 of his finishes have come by submission. This dude is not playing around, and that's why I think this is a sleeper, because you have a strong wrestler versus a strong grappler, if that makes sense. There's a difference. They're more or less the same, but there's a difference. So watch out for this fight, man. This is one of the early fights on the prelims. AJ, who you got next?
Next up, big fight in my eyes, Giga Chikadze versus Jamey Simmons. Now, Giga Chikadze, this dude is lightning fast striker, and he's coming in with a huge height and reach advantage, all right? Watch him to utilize his leg kicks to both maximize range and kind of find that striking distance, as well as put a little power to him. Now, I like Giga Chikadze personally just because he likes to have fun in the fire. You know, he's down to trade some shots, and you'll see him once they're trading, he'll smile back. And that's either, very discouraging to your opponent, or it's going to piss your opponent off. Either way, it makes for very entertaining fight for the rest of us. Now, Jamey Simmons, he's walking into a very tough opponent for his UFC debut. But this dude's nicknamed the Afro Samurai, and against Giga Chikadze, he's going to really need to be more of a mini Mike Tyson instead of a ninja samurai. He's very undersized. Giga Chikadze 6 foot. Jamey Simmons is 5'5", so he's gonna have to get under. He does have one really nice punch to what I think is gonna utilize his strategy. Is a very nice duck under overhand right. Kind of reminds me of that fantastic H bomb we saw. Not Dan Hardy. I just blanked the name. Anderson drop on Bisbee. But anyway, the H-bomb, it's very close, drops it hard, very heavy hands. I think it's going to be a really banger of a fight. Now, this is a sleeper to me specifically because Simmons has a huge opportunity to take the steam from a rising star in Chikadze, who's on his way to become a household name. And, Chikadze gets a few more knockouts, and he's right in makes an interesting mix for the top 5 of the 145 division. So I'm excited for that one. What you got next, Derick?
So this is a matchup. Listen, at 145 pounds, and I got a very popular name coming in with a dude who's looking to prove himself. We've talked about this before, AJ. Once you get further down the road in your UFC career, they will start throwing you to the wolves and trying to let prospects make a name off of you. So I got Darren the Damage Elkins, who is facing off against Eduardo Garagori. And come on, man, it's the Damage. What else do I need to say? Now, if you're a UFC, more of a modern UFC fan, you still probably should have seen him because dude fights very, very regularly. But man, he's as tough as they come. Dude fights up there with Uriah Faber up at Team Alpha Male. And listen, man, he is tied. Darren Elkins is tied with Max Holloway right now for most fights in the featherweight division at 20. Like, he's been around, he's done it, he's seen it all. And this is what's going to happen when you see this man fight. He's going to look to walk you down. And if he's not walking you down, he'll be on the back foot. But he's doing that just to create space so then he could jump forward with some punches. So no matter where he's at, he is going to give it to you. And we don't need to look at his record because his record is very deceiving. Now, he is 1-4 in his last 5, but I need to mention a couple of people that this dude fought, man. So first off, he fought Uriah Hall, who nobody, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants to fight this dude. He fought him absolute, it was just a complete mixture of styles. He lost the fight when this dude, Uriah Hall, is doing Imanari rolls all day long, trying to heel hook you. And his last fight was against Nate Landwehr, excuse me, it's actually a really tricky name to say, who is also a young powerhouse prospect, man. He lost the fight too, but these are very close battles, man, and this dude is giving it to you. Now, his opponent, let me just talk about his opponent, because we already know what there is to know about Elkins. Eduardo Garagori, he's a southpaw fighter who does his best work when he can sit just outside of that pocket and pick you apart with a wide array of different strikes, man. He loves to beat up the body. He loves space and distance, similar to Darren Elkins, which is why this is a sleeper, because it's on the feet. It's kind of similar how they get down, man. Now, he ran into some trouble in his last fight against Ricardo Ramos, who he got choked out in the first round and suffered the first loss of his career. So this fight should be a make or break it for him. I don't know how most fighters, especially new fighters to the league, react when they, lose their zero. But what I noticed is that he never quite got going like he did in his UFC debut. So if he lets Darren Elkins lead the dance, it's going to be a little bit of a problem for Garagori. But if he can lead the dance, if he could chew up those legs and start getting going, man, this is going to be really interesting. Once again, we got a dude in Garagori with 6 submission wins. So Darren Elkins is not scared to fight the tough opponents. He's not scared to fight the dudes who are going to be mismatches for him. And it's going to be a striker versus a grappler, but a grappler who also has very, very impressive striking. Watch out for this fight as well. Who you got next, AJ?
Next up, it's actually a main card fight. So I'm gonna do a little quick, brief breakdown of why I think this is a sleeper, just to make it interesting. But next up, I got Ioni Barcelos versus Khalid Taha. Now, Barcelos, he's a very, very fast striker coming out of that, world famous Pedro Hizo Mark Henry camp. Now, this dude is on an 8-fight win streak. And really, basically, you just got to watch out for his kicks, man. They're dangerous, all right? So against Khalid Taha. Now, Taha, this dude is a little mini tank. I say mini tank because they're only at 135 pounds, but this dude's a tank nonetheless, okay? He packs tons of power into his shots, and he likes to brawl. It's exciting. Now, this is a sleeper fight to me because of the weight class again. The bantamweights get absolutely zero respect, basically, by everyone. And I think these fighters can show, that they're very both technical as well as they're able to trade bombs, because these dudes are coming, swinging heavy and trying to take your head off. Almost everything you want to see in a fight fan, So I'm excited to see what they actually bring. And with the removal of Cejudo and some of the other big names, somebody has to fill the shoes. Might as well be somebody who can, drop a KO bomb on you. I don't know. What you think, Derick? What you got next?
So my next one is a main card fight as well. We got number 4 ranked Claudia Gadelha versus Yan Xiaonan fighting at 115 pounds, man. And, like I said, we're going to do a little bit of a further breakdown, so I'll give it to you nice, quick, and loose here, man. Xiaonan is a volume striker. Gadelha, she's a powerhouse, but she's also a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, man. So what's interesting about this and why this is a sleeper is because I'm going to use this as a very crude example. They're not the same fighter, but let's do a comparison of Claudia Gadelha, powerhouse like a Jessica Andrade, right? And then we have a Yao Xiaonan, who, in my opinion, is very overlooked because, look who came into the UFC and stole the limelight out of China as soon as she came in. Wei Li Zhang, you know what I'm saying? So to believe it or not, Xiaonan is actually UFC's first Chinese fighter, so she made her mark first, but she's barely getting her run right now, and they're both in the same division. So Xiaonan, man, what I love is that she's one of those strikers who is, it's kind of like I guess you're watching like a Muay Thai fight or something like that, where every time that she strikes, she is so audible with it. And they use that as breath control, right? And that's really interesting. Now, she has this wide karate stance, and she uses it like most China top team fighters do. Kind of, like I said, kind of that karate, kung fu-ish type style, man. But Claudia Gadelha, she wants to get you to the ground. She wants to ground and pound you. She wants to beat your face up. We're going to really get into it for a moment. But if there's no other reason you need to watch this, it's because of how impressive of strikers these both are. And Gadelha always has the equalizing factor of getting a submission win in there. So, that is my last sleeper. AJ, you all wrapped up with yours. So let's get into the actual picks, man. Let's get into, what the people are over here banking on us for, because they're going to go into their FanDuel, you know what I'm saying, or DraftKings, or they're going to go and just place a friendly wager on the bout or whatever the case may be, man. So number one, what I just talked about, Claudia Gadelha fighting against Yan Xiaonan at 115 pounds, man. So I want to do this justice a little bit, AJ, if you don't mind, man. I'm going to break it down a little bit. So Claudia Gadelha, man, I do want to let you guys know who she has fought, man. She's been around just about as long as the strawweight division has been around. You know what I'm saying? She's fought Joanna Jędrzejczyk, former champion. She fought her twice. She fought Jessica Andrade. She fought Carla Esparza, Nina Ansaroff, and most recently, she won a very, very controversial split decision over Angela Hill. But that's showing you the caliber. If you didn't already know the name, those are the people that she has fought, right? She hasn't beat them all, but she has fought them, right? So a win is a win is a win. But once again, man, she got a real deal test in front of her against Yao Xiaonan. So, Yao Xiaonan. I don't know why her nickname is Nine, but I enjoy it. She's, I think, one of the most talented yet slept-on fighters on this roster. I already told you Wei Li Zhang came in and kind of stole her limelight, all that good stuff, man. But you need to know that Xiaonan has wins over Angela Hill as well. She has a win against, now, I'm going to try to pronounce this last name, but you know who I'm talking about. She's the one who she head kicked her and her toe, like, scratched her eye. Karolina Kowalkiewicz. That's tough, man. It's kind of on the Blachowicz type hype, right? But, they're common opponents, all that good stuff. She's a volume striker in the best of ways, man. AJ, I want to know your opinion on this really quickly. Volume strikers, do you think good or bad? When I say volume striker, do you think good or bad?
I guess it against the opponent, because if you have a guy who has an iron chin, it's not going to be a fun time for you as a volume striker. You need to put him to sleep, or he's going to be coming at you wholeheartedly. So it depends really on that one.
So, I agree. And that's the connotation that I give it normally, right? Volume striker, a Nate Diaz, kind of a James Krause. Like, all right, we'll see what you can do. I hope you got other skills to kind of bring that all out. But when I say that Yan Xiaonan is a volume striker, I mean it in the best of ways, truly, man. And what's beautiful about this is she has two jabs. Her conventional jab that she throws out of the orthodox stance. And also she has this jumping calf kick. It's like a leaping forward power calf kick that she throws, which is even more effective of her jab. So I love that she does that, man. I love the head kick. Watch for that. She will knock your face off. And then Claudia Gadelha, man, big powerhouse. So now that I've said all of that, man, let me get your pick. You go first on this one, AJ. Who are you going for and why?
Man, me personally, I'll give you the pick right off the bat. I'm going Yao Xiaonan. She was very impressive, and that thing you're talking about is called the Ki. She strikes even harder when she does that little scream you're talking about, and it's you can tell that she actually hits very hard. She's very strong. I'm looking for her to actually just get the decision and wear down Gadelha the entire fight. Even though Gadelha, she's coming out of that world famous Mark Henry Ricardo Almeida camp that I was talking about before. But I think at the end of the day, her Gadelha striking did get exposed by Angela Hill in their last fight, and I think Xiaonan is just going to do the exact same thing. Just going to pick her apart from far and be able to maintain distance and control the fight What do you think, Derek?
So I completely agree. The same exact example, Angela Hill, Claudia Gadelha. I was like, you just follow that game plan, man, and execute a little bit better. You win the fight. Angela Hill should have won the fight, in my opinion. But there's one other factor that we need to consider, and this is my favorite part. My favorite reason why I consider Yan Xiaonan as one of my favorite fighters is her feints, dude. So Joanna Jacek, Rose Namajunas, Yan Xiaonan. Those are the best feints in the 115-pound division, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But what do I know? But in all honesty, the way that she uses her feints confuses her opponent so much. You watch it time and time and time again. Her feints are the make it or break it, and that's the thing. Some people, they bank on their power, like Claudia Gadelha, like a Jessica Andrade. They bank on the power. They bank on just being able to touch you. And some people, they want to confuse you. It's all about the illusion, and that's why I'm going Xiaonan, but I'm going with a decision win. So let's hit the next one, man. We got a couple of big boys, man. Not the biggest, but we got some middleweights here. I got number 15 ranked Ian Heinch is facing off against Brendan Allen. Now, let me break it down for you guys, man. Ian the Hurricane Heinch, man. Coming off a huge win against Gerald Mearschart, the dude that Hamzat just slept with one punch, right? Don't forget about that guy. But he knocked him out basically the same exact way. A big, huge overhand right. Just, knocked him out of the fight with some ground and pound. His last two fights have pretty much come out the same, man. Bouncy stance, coming out the gate with some leg kicks and some body kicks to set up the offense. Now, Brendan Allen, this is a BJJ guy, man. He was actually training exclusively jiu-jitsu before. I'm going to tell you a funny story really quickly. Super brief, AJ. Dude is training jiu-jitsu. He's out of Louisiana. He's one of those cats. Saw Dustin Poirier come into the gym one time, get down with one of the best Louisiana fighters at that moment. And then he actually got in some rounds with Dustin Poirier after said. Poirier beat him up a little bit, but that really got him into MMA. And now he earned a UFC shot. He in here, he making it happen. And let me just tell you, man, he left. Brendan Allen, man, he's fought some real deal cats. Now, if I told you this, he has a win over Kevin Holland, he has a win over Tom Breeze, and he was already supposed to fight Ian Heinch. If I told you that already, you would think this is a dude who's like top 10, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
easy.
yeah. You would think so. You would totally think so, right?
At least 15.
But no, and he's finally getting his first shot at the rankings right now. So I'm really impressed. I'm really and excited to see what this dude is going to do. Now, the last note that I want to do to kind of introduce this on out is that Ian Heinch, man, he was a Factory X Muay Thai fighter who left to go over to Thailand and go kick it with them Tiger Muay Thai fighters, man. One of my favorite fighters on that camp is my girl, Luke Boon Mi. You know what I'm saying? They really get down over there, and I think that fighters who come out of that camp specifically have game-changing impacts to their performance. Now, Brendan Allen, man, he's from Rufus Sport MMA Academy, so just don't sleep on the dude. 5-0 in his last 5. Who you got on this, AJ? What are you thinking?
Man, I'm thinking for this Ian Heinch versus Brendan Allen fight, man. Personally, me, I'm actually a big Brendan Allen fan. That's a crazy story. I didn't even know that story. But if you're down to get down with one of the baddest men in the planet, and then you think, you know what, I'm gonna make a profession out of this. That says something, man. That's some art right there, and that's some old school dog mentality. I really like that. His last 3 wins have all been very impressive. He was able to dominate, and I expect him to do the exact same thing here. I think it's going to be a long night for Heinisch. I expect Allen to be able to control the tempo and take the fight to the ground and land the big shots like he what did in his last fight against Dawkins. Dragging Heinch into the deep waters and keeping him there for the majority of the fight. Personally, I got it Allen TKO round 3. What do you think?
Interesting, man. So for me, what I did when I was trying to determine who was going to win this fight is I looked back at his fight against Tom Breeze, actually, because I felt like it was kind of similar to how Heinch is going to approach the fight. And what you saw from Allen in that fight, man, is that he can handle the power puncher, dude. And in that fight, he looked to get Tom Breeze to the ground immediately. And when he couldn't pull off the sub, he postured up and he beat his face in with the ground and pound and ended the fight. So what I'm expecting is a similar type of fight, but I'm going submission round 2. Brendan Allen. So that's what we got on that one, man. Let's go on to the next one that we got here. And this is actually, I'm going to let you get this one off, man, because this was your sleeper. The one thing that I did want to just double down on, you already mentioned it, man. You cannot sleep on Barcelos being a former RFA featherweight champion, right? So he's dropping down a little bit of weight coming into the UFC. And like you said, where is he coming out of? Hizzo RVT, man. If you do not know who Pedro Hizzo is, go to YouTube, look up some highlights, and you're going to see the most devastating leg kicker in the game next to maybe Pat Barry. You know what I'm saying? Like, devastating. Watch Barcelos, watch the leg kicks. Just listen to him a little bit, man. That's all you got to do. Now, AJ, take it away, please.
I couldn't have said it any better, Derek. That's the name of the game for Barcelos. Is take out those legs, old school Pedro Hizzo style. Now, I'm looking for him to just control the octagon and just nonstop keep those legs kick coming. He's very smart and he remains calm in the fight. I actually really like his style of being able to just stay calm, stay in the pocket, and fire off shots and really do devastating damage to your opponent. Personally, though, Taha, now, I'm not sure why they took away his last dub against Bruno Silva, because he straight put it.
PEDs, that's what it was.
Oh, it was PEDs. Now that makes sense, because he straight put it to Bruno Silva. And I mean, who knows, I guess it's true, because that is a pretty big asterisk. But the biggest trouble I saw if I was going to be fighting Taha is that he carries power in both hands. He can drop you with either his left or his right, and he is a big 135er. He's a tank, like I said earlier, and he's really going to test the chin of Barcelos. Personally, I think the determining factor is going to be who takes the first backward step, who's actually kind of fades a little, or who gives a little bit away, because whoever can control the fight and lead the dance is going to get the better of the exchanges that these two have. Taha has good wrestling, and Barcelos can always draw them from that BJJ he keeps in his back pocket, you know. So I feel like it's only going to go to the ground if one of the fighters gets hurt, personally. I think this fight should be fast-paced and action-packed. I'm going Taha KO round 2.
Interesting, man. So with this one, man, I'll give you the pick first. I'm going Barcelos with the decision. And the reason why is because, like you said, so Taha, he has the D2 collegiate wrestling experience in Germany. So like the takedown defense, that's what I'm looking for, because I think he has 0 takedown attempts in his career in the UFC, excuse me. And for Barcelos, man, I'm all about the leg kick, man. I just think you can't take too many of those unless you're super duper high level, like a Khabib. Even Khabib, watching that fight, I was like, it's only a matter until those leg kicks by Gaethje just, he can't do anything. Luckily, he got the fight done before that. But like I said, man, your calf muscle can only do so much. Now, when Barcelos isn't using his leg kicks, why I like him is because he's kind of on the edge of the pocket, hitting you on the ends of his punches. He's not dumb, you know what I mean? He's not a foolish fighter. He's not just going to sit in there in the pocket and just eat shots all day long. Now, to contrast, man, Taha, I love one thing about him. My favorite part about him is that he's one of the fighters who, in his stance, he keeps that right hand really high. And you could say, oh, it's a defensive maneuver, but what I think it is because when I see fighters who do that, it's always dudes who love to use that right cross, just drop it down on you. It's right there, ready to go at all times. Dude has a 62% knockout clip, man. So it's going to be a tough one for Barcelos, but I think he's going to be able to avoid damage. And like I said, we're going decision on that one. So let's move on to the next fight, man. This is one where one of these dudes needs no introduction, but we're going to get to it, man. So we got some big boys, 265ers. Andre Arlovsky. We got the pit bull who's facing off against Tanner the Bulldozer Bozer, man. And this is the co-main event on this card. And listen, let me give Andre Arlovsky his due real quick, man. The Pitbull, he's hands down one of the most accomplished and decorated fighters in UFC history. He's racked up 18 wins in his 20 years with the company. And though his title run only lasted about 2 fights, he got that taken away from by Tim Sylvia twice, from 05 to 06, he still looks hungry for the gold strap, man. And he said something along the lines of, I'm trying to remember who it was. Maybe it was a Fedor, maybe it was someone else. George Foreman. George Foreman won a title at like 47. So he's like, the prime of my career is ahead of me. I'm sorry, dude. 40s don't work that way, homie. But hey, I'm going to give it to you. So he's a dude who's not going to one-shot you with a knockout at this point in his career, but he's no tough fight for anybody, man. And that's pretty much all you need to say. If you don't know who Andre Arlovsky is, turn this program off right now and go look up some highlights, man, because that's disrespect to the sport. Now, Tanner Boser. I got a personal vendetta with this guy, man. I really enjoy this dude as a fighter. He got about a 50% knockout clip in his 19 wins, which is really impressive for a heavyweight who's really known for moving his feet, being agile, light, being quick with his hands, being undersized, even though he's literally a 265er. But, you know, he's not known for his speed for no reason, dude. This dude has lightning quick hands, and that's just the type of fighter he is, man. Dan Hardy, he explained it perfectly. He said he's like a rehabilitated, smaller, faster Roy Nelson, and I could not agree more. I love that. I love that comparison, man. But Bozer's a former heavyweight champ in Unified MMA, which is a really popular circuit up in Canada, and he's previously only lost to Cyril Gain. So this is a dude who was supposed to fight just a week or two ago, man. And if you know anything about Gain, is that he's 6-0, and he has walked through all of his opponents like butter. But do you know who's the one fighter that he couldn't walk through? It was Tanner Boser. He got a decision win. Dude finished everybody else. So that's just a testament to Tanner Boser. And, you know, dude eats nails for breakfast, man. You better watch out because he's trying to constantly set you up with the faint, huge, not this ain't even it. It's more of like a one of these, like a huge overhand right to take your fucking skull off, dude. Tanner Boser will beat you up in the ground and pound. He'll beat you up wherever you take it. And with that being said, AJ, let me get a little bit of your breakdown. Who do you think is going to win and why?
Man, next up, Andre Arlovsky versus Tanner Boser. Personally, I gotta do Andre Arlovsky the favor as well, man. Growing up, he was one of my favorite fighters. You know, he was big, powerful. He could take a shot. Not to mention, you know, the iconic mouthpiece. And seeing him now, the busted up nose version of Arlovsky we have, it kind of hurts a little bit, man. It's one of those another Anderson Silva things, you know. They've actually been calling for his retirement. They, you know, the MMA media and kind of the collective whole, I say they have been calling for his retirement since 2011, and they've been saying that his chin has been giving way since then. So, you know, it's really hard to doubt what he actually has because he's been dropping people since then. So, you know, he has some very notable wins since 2011. And I'm hoping, you know, there's still a part of me that's really hoping that the Pitbull can come out once again and see that old school youth, and hopefully his prime is ahead of him. But it's hard to say when you're 41. Excuse me. Now, like you said, Tanner Boser, light, fast. He's kind of where I see the heavyweight class evolving to. Quicker, faster strikers coming in that are still pushing 255. You know, dude's not a small man, but they say he is undersized all the time, which is crazy. Personally, I think he's going to be able to outmaneuver Arlovsky, and I'm looking for Boser to pick Arlovsky out from range, bounce in and out, use the entire octagon most of the fight, and be able to put him out real. I guess not easy, but I guess in style is what I'm trying to say. I'm going Boser KO round 1. What do you think, Derick?
Well, first, man, I can't give him the round 1 knockout because, like I said, respect to the man, the legend, the myth, Andre Arlovsky. But listen, I picked Boser to lose in each of his last 2 fights against Felipe Lins, who Arlovsky also beat, and Rafael Pessoa. And he proved me wrong both times. So, AJ, you know how the saying goes, fool me once, shame on me. Or shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. I'm not making the same mistake 3 times in a row, dude. That's just straight up insanity. So I am going Tanner Boser, and like I said, I can't give you the first round knockout. That's disrespect. So I'm going KO round 2. You know what I'm saying? I think Boser is going to get him out of there. And in all honesty, I think either a ground and pound knockout is the most likely, or if he catches you, feint, right hand over the top, you're done. You're going to sleep. I'm sorry. That's it. So Tanner Boser, that's my pick. Now, it's the moment we have all been waiting for, man. In all honesty, dude, listen. Maybe you hear the name Glover Teixeira. Maybe you say, that's old. Sounds like, you know, dude's been around forever. Why would I even want to watch a fight like that? Listen, he's another one of those Arlovsky-type cats who does not go away. Dude does not go away. So we have some 205ers, light heavyweight, former title challengers, man. Number 1 ranked Thiago Santos fighting against number 3 ranked Glover Teixeira. Now, Thiago, Marreta, Santos, man, he's coming off of a very close decision loss to the GOAT, John Jones, man. Like, you know, and for me, I always say this. You can never count those fights as film study. No, John Jones doesn't let anybody look how they normally look when you fight him. But what I need to mention here, this is really one of the most important parts of this entire breakdown that I'm going to do is, in that fight, he walked out after a 5-round split decision loss war with a torn ACL, MCL, PCL, and meniscus in his left knee, checking in at 36 years old. I don't know too many 36-year-old individuals, even uber athletes, that just come back from that. Even Adrian Adrian Peterson, when he tore his ACL, dude was not that old. You know what I'm saying? So besides that, because that's important to preface. Listen, man, in almost 10 years of fighting, this dude has never had more than the layoff that he's had now, which is about 490 days. So dude's hungry, he wants to scrap, he's with it. And if we're talking about a dude who has finished 16 of his 21 career fights and he has finished 11 of his 13 career UFC wins, we already know what there is to know about Thiago Santos, his capoeira background, his blitzing famous Santos blitz, combo I always talk about on this show. But he's facing off against Glover Teixeira, man. And Glover Teixeira, has only lost 3 fights in the last 10 years. First off, crazy stat. I bet you didn't know that, right? His 4-fight UFC win streak at 205 is the second longest active streak in the division behind Magomed Ankalaev, who has 5 right now. And he's tied with OSP, Ovint St. Preux, for the most stoppage victories at 205 with 11, man. And he's also tied for first in submission victories at 205 with 5 of them. Come on, man. What else do I need to say? I just rattled off all those accomplishments. Listen, this is my breakdown of the fight, man. I went back and I looked at Glover Teixeira's fight against Ion Cutelaba because I think that's going to be a similar style that Santos is going to come out with, man. And even though Cutelaba's been on the wrong end of a couple knockout losses recently, man, you don't sleep on that dude, man. So what Glover Teixeira did, believe it or not, walked him down. He walked down the power puncher, man. He was looking punch, shoot for the takedown. But, he avoids damage so well in the transition of those clinch situations, which is literally what I think is the most dangerous, place for him to be in, is in the pocket trying to shoot for a takedown where you can get your face knee to your face or a kick or whatever the case may be. And that actually did happen against Cutelaba. He ate a fat knee and was hurt really badly, and that could have been the end of the fight, man. So you always got to be careful. But I think clinch control, I think dirty boxing is what's going to do it for Glover. And I think over the course of a 5-round fight, man, I don't think Santos is going to come out quick, man. I think the injuries are going to make him come out a little bit slow. I think he's going to get behind on the cards. And by that point, Teixeira is either going to try to take him down, hit him with the dirty boxing, keep that clinch control, whatever the case may be. But the last thing that I want to note about Thiago Santos is that, listen, man, this is an interesting stat. Hear me out. He finished Jan Blachowicz, current 205 champ right now. They already fought. He already finished him. Now, check this out, AJ. I wrote this down just because I thought this might get like a little laugh out of you or something. When he knocked Blachowicz down with a hit, he hit Blachowicz 25 times with his weak hand, 25 hammer fists in the span of 8 seconds to finish the fight. 25 hammer fists in 8 seconds, bro. That doesn't even make sense. So if you allow him to turn on the Santos blitz, it's game over. No one is getting out of that, man. So with everything that I have said, AJ, I'm gonna save my pick. I want you to give your take, you give your pick, and then I'll reveal my pick last, man.
Sounds good, Derick, man. That's what you call the Santos jackhammer fist.
Oh yeah,
just man, that's crazy speed. I mean, Santos, what else is there to say? This dude's a beast. Speaking as someone who has blown out their ACL, gone through surgery, in order to fight the GOAT, John Jones, I thought he blew out both his knees, but it could just be one. Either way, that's absolute savagery. I couldn't even walk. This dude's over here fighting the GOAT, man. It's absolutely crazy. He's very dangerous, proven to be one of the most dangerous individuals, and proven he's extremely hard to put away. You really got to take this dude's head off to actually get out of there with the dub. Santos is super dangerous in the crossfire, in the transition, and Teixeira really needs to watch out for that power. That's the biggest thing. You walk forward, you get blitzed on, and you get put right to sleep. Now, Glover Teixeira, he's deceptively fast. And I know for his last fight against Anthony Smith, I was one of the ones saying, oh, Teixeira, he's old, man. It's time for him to hang him up. It's time for him. And he made me eat my words. It was rough, man. I doubted the longtime veteran of the game against Lionheart, and he showed that he belongs and that he still has that dog in him that we like to see. He was rough, and you really put it to him. There was one point in the fight where Alex Smith, or Anthony Smith, said, "My teeth are falling out." Mm-hmm. Like, how hard you got to get punched in the face for you to feel like your teeth are falling out. I mean, credit to Lionheart, but also credit to those stone hands of Teixeira. Personally, I think Santos though is going to be a little too fast for him and a little too strong, and be able to strike at distance, control the entire fight. And I'm going Santos to put away Teixeira, KO round 3. What do you think, Derick?
Well, first, before I drop the, inevitable pick, man, I do believe it was the Teixeira Smith fight where Teixeira was beating Smith over the head with some ground and pound, and he was all like, hey, Anthony, I'm sorry, this is just business. And then Anthony Smith was like, huh? And he was like, it's just business. And he was like, yeah, whatever, bro. Just getting his face punched in all the time, man. So that's like, listen, that's nice version of Khabib right there, beating up Michael Johnson, saying, listen, I'm sorry, this is just professional. I deserve the belt. Come on, what are we doing here? And when you can do that, when you're that composed, when you're taking groin shots and you're taking dirty shots, and instead of getting mad about it, just saying, hey, man, what's up? Clean fight. This is Teixeira, bro. He's an OG. He's a veteran. If anything, he's a mixed martial artist. And for that reason, I'm going Teixeira. Decision win, man. I think he's a dude who you just shouldn't count him out, man. And my biggest reason I would pick Santos if it weren't for coming off of all of these injuries. He said he doesn't need a tune-up fight, but he's 36 years old, man. And like you said, you got the actual experience with the injuries. I went to school and I studied a little bit of that, health and body and all that stuff, the health sciences and whatnot. And I don't know nobody that just recovers like that and comes back 100%, doesn't come back with a psychological block, with a little bit of hesitancy, not being able to fire. They got like I don't know, they call them something, the yips or whatever, right? Where you're just not yourself. And I think that's what we're going to see out of Santos. I hope we don't see it. And for the sake of the fans watching at home, myself included, I hope we just see fire show. You know what I'm saying? Fireworks all day long. But with that being said, we gave him the picks. We gave him the slippers. We do what we do, man. You already know. But AJ, we're going to round it out with the segment as always. Give me your take out of all the fights on the roster. What do you think is going to be fight of the night? Give me one pick for you.
Ooh, fight of the night, Derick. Fight of the night, personally, I'm going to go Heoni Barcelos versus Khalid Taha. I think the little dudes are going to bang it out, get it done, show us absolute fireworks, and show us why that division needs to stay, and we need to be a little more active in it to see the rising stars that are going to be here in the future. What do you think, Dirk?
Right on, man. I do want to note that last time I gave out my fight of the night, I won. Fight of the night on that. Nathaniel Wood versus my boy. I forgot the other name, but Casey Kenny. There we go. That was fight of the night. But this one, I'm going Gedalia and Yan Xiaonan. And the reason why, man, is I think this is time that Xiaonan gets put on the map. Whoever wins this fight, I believe it will be Xiaonan, but whoever wins this fight, man, is going to have to go out in style like that, because these are two people who come to bring it. And like you said, man, Xiaonan, she, that volume striker, that pace, the power. Come on, man. So we'll see what happens, folks. Drop your picks. Follow us on Verdict. Hit us up on Instagram at All Factors Considered. But most importantly, man, put in those picks in Verdict. Let's see where you stack up at the end. We hold an accountability for our picks every week. We got to come and either eat our words or take our victory lap. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see you, fight night. Holla at us. And we'll see you next week with a brand new episode. So until next time, folks, peace.